Morning, first year. Welcome to our fourth distance learning lesson. Let's go over what our weekly writing plan is from the last few weeks. So, if you remember, week one we looked at describing setting, week two we looked at show, don't tell. Last week we looked at planning and looking at examples. This week we're going to look at how to open our essay and use the slow writing method. And then next week we're actually going to start writing our essay and think about how to check our work. As usual, we'll start with our spelling starter, so pause the video now. Your 3 words are there and you know what to do. And we're going to move on now to our main lesson. We'll start first of all though with a recap of everything that we have covered so far. So if you remember, the skills that we have looked at are describing setting and focusing on using the senses and using figurative language such as similes and metaphors. We've also looked at describing emotions and using figurative language to do that, as well as effective word choice. We've looked at how to show our emotions rather than just telling someone about our emotions. Then we looked at some examples of personal essays, and last week we also planned our essay. We're now finally going on to actually writing the essay, but we're only going to focus on the opening this week, okay? So things that you probably want to focus on in your opening, you want to think about what's called contextualizing your experience. So think about the setting, okay? If you're talking about a full day, then just think about as you wake up. Or you might want to sort of change the order of your essay a little bit. So maybe you want to start by describing of the setting of where the main event takes place and then work your way backwards a wee bit. It's up to you. But focus a lot on putting things in place so that someone reading it knows exactly what you're talking about, where you are, okay? Describe setting, think about lots of detail, okay? So all the stuff we did before, okay? So even if you were just to describe waking up in your bedroom, go into loads of detail. What are the sights? What are the sounds? Could you hear someone making breakfast? Or could you hear birds outside? Or could you hear maybe a sibling moaning or anything you want, okay? You might want to describe the weather in lots of detail. And you can use a little bit of artistic license. So this has got to be based on a true event, but you can tweak it so that you could make the weather maybe reflect how you feel. Because no one's going to go back and check the weather and double check you were absolutely telling that sort of truth, okay? Think about your initial thoughts and feelings and then end your opening with a sort of hint to what the essay is going to be about, okay? We're only going to do one main activity today, you'll be pleased to know, and that is opening our essay. And I've done this on purpose so that you really focus on this, okay? And we're going to use the method called slow writing, which first years we did do before. If you've been with me since August, we have done slow writing before. So here is the name of the person that wrote about slow writing and came up with it. And here is a link to his website, and it's got lots of stuff in there about slow writing. It's really useful, and so if you want some more hints and tips, you can look at that, okay? I want you to use the ideas that you just thought about, okay? So if you haven't done it, maybe you want to pause the video, rewind a little bit, watch the previous slide again, and just jot down some ideas. It can just be in your notebook or in your OneNote, whatever you want, okay? But then you're going to write your opening in a particular way. Now remember, slow writing is all about slowing things down and focusing on each individual sentence, okay? And there's also going to be a focus on the skills we have developed. So just in case you weren't here with me in August, basically what slow writing is you've got the ideas in your head you want to write about, but I'm going to tell you sentence by sentence how to write your first paragraph. And what you should end up with is a much more varied paragraph with loads of techniques and stuff rather than just having to do it all by yourself. So let's have a go, okay? So you're going to write your opening. If I were you, I would probably do this on just paper for just now and then redo it when you go to do your team's assignment, okay? Because it takes a while to make sure that you've got it the way you want it to be, okay? So, you're going to write the opening to your personal essay. You're going to call upon the ideas you thought about already, but I'm going to tell you how to write it. So, the first sentence must use at least two of the senses. So remember, the senses are what can you hear, see, smell, touch, or taste. So pause the video and write down a sentence that uses at least two of the senses. Your second sentence must include a simile. So pause the video and your second sentence in your opening must include a simile. Your third sentence must show an emotion. So pause the video and write down your third sentence to show an emotion. Remember, at any point if you get stuck, that is when you should go on the tutorials to ask questions, or you could go back and watch the previous videos. They're all still there in the channel, the Bertha Park English Department YouTube channel, and just go over something again, just in case you're not sure about something, okay? But pause the video and write down your third sentence. Your fourth sentence must be exactly 6 words long. So pause the video and write down a sentence that is exactly 6 words long. Your fifth sentence must start with an adverb. So remember, an adverb is a word that describes a verb. So quickly, suddenly, slowly. I always love the adverb gingerly. That means doing something quite carefully. Carefully is another one. So pause the video and write down a sentence starting with an adverb. And finally, your sixth sentence must include a metaphor. Remember, if you're not sure what a metaphor is, you could go back and watch other videos again or ask during the tutorial time. So pause the video and do that now. If you're quite confident, you could do a bonus 7th sentence, and that must include a question. So pause the video and make sure that you've written down at least the first 6 sentences, maybe even a 7th. Okay, we're moving on now to checking our work, right? And remember, my biggest bugbear about checking the work is you know yourselves. You sometimes do something, you go, yeah, that'll do, and you send it away. No, you're only getting one activity to do really this week. So please take your time and make sure it's perfect, okay? So the first thing I want you to ask is, read your opening, does it make sense? Are you happy with it? Is the spelling the way it should be? What about the punctuation? What about your similes and metaphors? Are they the best ones you could do, or did you just kind of bung one in quickly just to say you've done it? Do you want to maybe redo it? Right, so we're going to put all this together in a Teams assignment, and this is the final assignment you're going to do before you write your essay, okay? So it must be completed for next week, otherwise you are going to find writing this essay really difficult. As per usual, you'll be given a Word document. Please make sure that you edit that Word document, okay? I want you to include your personal essay plan. So if you did the assignment for last week, all you need to do is copy and paste it over, okay? But I'll put the table in again just in case anyone needs to maybe update it, or maybe you just want to change it, you thought of something better. There will also be a box for you to type in an opening. So from the notes you've just done, you might want to kind of redraft it and make it even better. So it might not exactly fit anymore what you were originally asked to do because you've made it even better, but it should, in that case, it should be really, really good. Okay, so varied sentences, similes and metaphors, using the senses, all the things we talked about. I'm happy though for you to just retype what you've just done, okay, as long as you're happy with it. There will be a section as well for you to type in poetry thoughts, okay? And this is to make sure you're watching the whole of the video and the fact that I want you to engage with the poetry that we've not read yet, so don't worry. And finally, remember you have got a RUI task. You've got 2 weeks to do this, so I'm not doing any RUI with you in this lesson because you've got that time instead to finish your homework for the RUI task, okay? And that assignment was already handed out to you in your team. And next week then, we're going to be writing the essay. Don't panic about that yet, because I will go through all that with you next week. So as I said, there is no RUI, okay? But we're going to just read a poem together, and then I'll remind you of the homework. So this poem is called Words Are Birds by Francisco X. Alahorn. And there's just a wee screenshot to show you some information about him, but it'd be interesting for you to go away and learn a wee bit more about him if you've got the time. Words are birds. Words are birds that arrive with books and spring. They love clouds, the wind, and trees. Some words are messengers that come from far away, from distant lands. For them, there are no borders, only stars, moon, and sun. Some words are familiar, like canaries, others are exotic, like the quetzal bird. Some can stand the cold, others migrate with the sun to the south. Some words die caged, they're difficult to translate. And others build nests, have chicks, warm them, feed them, teach them how to fly, and one day they go away in flocks. The letters on this page are the prints they leave by the sea. Just as a reminder then, you're going to have a Teams assignment for next week, and it's going to be a Word document that you must edit, please. It will include your personal essay plan. You then type in your opening, you then type in your poetry thoughts, and please remember that you've got a second Teams assignment due next week, and that's a RUI task, okay? And then next week we're going to be writing the essay.